Chinese Premier Li Qiang has warned world leaders against politicizing economic issues and emphasized the importance of maintaining a stable global supply chain. While speaking at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in China's port city of Tianjin, Premier Li Qiang dismissed the notion of de-risking as a false proposition that could lead to various problems. He urged countries to collaborate and manage competition within an open trading system. This comes as Europe seeks to reduce its reliance on China, and the United States emphasizes de-risking and diversification. But what is de-risking? De-risking refers to the phenomenon of financial institutions terminating or restricting business relationships with clients or categories of clients to avoid rather than manage risk. Premier Li Qiang also emphasized that economic globalization has created an interconnected community where the economies of all nations are intertwined. He also called for businesses to be primary decision makers in assessing risks and criticized governments and organizations for overstepping the authority. The Premier also expressed optimism about China's economic recovery, projecting stronger growth in the second quarter and reaffirming the country's commitment to pragmatic measures and opening up to foreign investors. Mark Brolin is an economist and geopolitical strategist. He is joining us live from London. Mark, thank you very much for joining us on this program, and it's good to see you. Officials in Beijing dismissed the term de-risking as no different than decoupling. Now they're trying a new strategy they're calling redefine the concept. The Chinese premier warned that risks shouldn't be exaggerated. He also says it should be decided by business leaders instead of governments. What do you make of the Premier's statement, and what impact does de-risking have on the Chinese economy?
Well, I think the statement is directly related to the Chinese economy is now in trouble. We had figures released this week saying that industry production is going down quite a bit between since January until now, and because of weak demand domestically and also a real estate crisis, it's a classic tactic to try to juice profits or GDP, but by boosting exports. So that's on the back of this. So that's what he's saying, and of course this is also should be seen in the context of increased tension between the West and China following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So all this is sort of connected, but it's hard to say how much of this is actually political noise, because as you're saying, decoupling, is it going to happen in practice, or is it just leaders in the US, in Germany and China actually negotiating between themselves?
What about the impact that de-risking may have on the Chinese economy?
Well, it might have impact in some industries. We can see, especially like the German car industry is now having big trouble because possibly China has turned into the biggest car exporter in the world, overtaking even Japan. And the German economy is in even greater trouble. So they are not happy about this. So some industries might be affected, actually. And we have also the strategic industries, arms technology, for example, that will probably be affected in some ways. We have antibiotics industry, components going into the drugs industry, I mean medicine industry in the US, that might be affected too, because it's seen as too dependent on China. But probably in the vast majority of industries, there might be lots of noise over the next couple of months or even years, but possibly not so much might happen. But in those industries that might happen, I think it might be a great opportunity for India to pick up the slack, since if West is decoupling just to some extent from China.
Mark Brolin, thank you very much for all your inputs and for talking to WION World is One today.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.